So we'll look at cucumbers and how to kind of deal with cucumbers in the beginning. A lot of videos out there kind of deal with how to plant them, how to seed them, and what to do after the fact, but there's a lot of stuff that you have to do in the beginning to maintain and have success at the end. So this is the trellis that I use. It's about 8 foot up. It's just T-post with some wood strips zip tied on, little PVC and some aluminum piping all the way through. Nothing too fancy. So I like to have the cucumbers up off the ground. Not only is it a space saver, but it stops the leaves from touching the ground or the vines that then would promote or bring a higher chance of disease being contracted. So you get them up, you get them breathing, and you save space at the same time. So in this case, there is about 65 to 70 cucumber plants in this section. It's about 20 feet, so it's about 1 per square foot. Each of them are going to have its own single strand associated with it, and that's how I have them tied up. So if you look here, as it's going up and growing, I essentially just strangle it with a couple loops with the string. No sort of fancy plastic clamp, and you have it standing straight up. So yes, it's a little more maintenance you have to do throughout the intermediate and end times to help support it going upward. It will eventually be able to climb up itself or through the help of others, but it's good in the beginning to help support it as it continues its growth up. So these in particular are hybrids that are not only more disease resistant, but also only really produce female flowers. So if you see here, you see the little mini cucumber on the end with the flower, so that's a female flower, and you see a lot of these pretty much have female flowers. And within the package, you'll get 90-95% of cucumber plants that only produce female flowers, with a few that do contain a male flower here and there, so that will help the pollination. So you have a significantly higher chance of growing more cucumbers simply because you have a lot more female flowers to help promote that. You just need one bee to essentially go into a male flower and pop back and forth, and you have yourself a boatload of cucumbers at the same time. These are two different varieties. You see a smaller variety over here, and you see the larger ones over here. These are Burpee Success, and these are Bristol from Johnny. So these are new. We haven't done these before. These ones were very good to us last year. You see a little burn. I don't know if that's from the sun or a little too much fertilizer. But one of the things that you want to do as your cucumber is growing, you see it gets quite dense in there, which is fine. But eventually, as soon as plants or leaves don't get as much sun, they tend to start turning discolored. They're more susceptible to disease, and that's where you want to do the trimming. So as these are going forward, the basic maintenance, as I already touched out, is supporting these going upward. So you flip them around. You want to cut the bottom leaves. They've already served their role as a sunflower, and now the sun can't hit them because it's too dense. And right now the airflow isn't as good, so you want to clip the bottom leaves. Nothing too special about that. Get them out of there. And the other thing is, you want to promote the growth of the main stalk, as well as promote the growth of the roots. So similar to tomatoes where they have suckers, cucumbers also have suckers associated with them. So here's the main stem. It's going up, up, up. And if I were to just kind of flip this around, so that is going to be your main stem, and that's going to stay up like that. If you were to go down into the side of this, you'll also see another growing vine. It's not to say that this will not produce flowers and cucumbers. It will. You see a little flower there. It will produce something. But that essentially is a side distraction of where the main growth should be. It should be in the bottom and the top, and right now there's some side growth. So you would want to then take this off, this little sucker piece off, to help reduce the amount of energy being spent sideways, and you support the growth up and down. So you know it's a sucker because you have your main stem, you have your associated sunflower, and in between the two is the growth in between. That's your sucker, so you want to clip that off. So essentially you want to go that all the way through. This seems to be already pollinated, this one. So as you do that, not only do you get rid of the sunflowers that have already spent their time and remove the suckers, so you help devote more energy to the plant itself, but you're also promoting that airspace being much more clear and airflow through to reduce the chances of diseases. So that's pretty much how you have to maintain cucumbers as they are going up. It's a little bit of maintenance initially, a little bit squatting on your knees, but as it goes up, they'll be as tall as you, and the bottoms will already be clipped off. So you essentially are going to keep maintaining the growth up here while taking down everything down there, and then you'll be able to probably get about, from this, when it's going strong, about 4 straight weeks, you'll probably get between 60 to 80 cucumbers associated with this amount of cucumbers going forward. So that's how we maintain this, and we have great success with growing upwards, as well as doing little maintenance associated with that. So this is about 2 months in, about a month in, and in about a month we'll have pretty much full harvest associated with all of these. So this is how we do it. All right, so the trimming's all done. You can see hopefully more of the dirt from when we first started. Everything is now up towards the string, not hanging over like before. And I think now you can see the most critical aspect of here. Beyond just getting some airflow in between it, hopefully you can start seeing a lot more of those yellow flowers. So the more yellow flowers that you can see means the more yellow flowers that the bees can see. So removing the bottom growth helps a lot with not only the growth but the pollination. So it's key to do that. So as these things keep growing up, I'll probably keep cutting until they're up to here. Then once they get to the top, then I kind of just let it roam wild and have the suckers, which will produce fruit. So initially cut everything through the first half of its life. Make sure you have that constant growth of its roots and the single stem upward. Make sure you get those flowers shown to the bees so you get on their track for the pollination, because that will certainly help not only here but also the rest of the garden that still has yet to produce those flowers. So it will roll over into the next phase once we get beyond these. So those are some nice critical tips you want to do while growing your initial phases of your cucumbers.